times in the Bronx and Queens in the past 9 months.
Nobody, not even police, knew anything about him, and that fear of the unknown forced people off the streets.
At 3 a.m., 3 shots tore through the side window of the car. Valentina died, a bullet wound in the head. He has killed 4 women and a man, all of whom had long brown hair.
They're afraid. You never know when you turn around who's going to be there.
Like my sister will not come out of the house now.
It's just too dangerous. You can't take the chance.
I am the son of Sam, the note declared. I am not a woman hater.
He starts to thrive on the publicity and the attention he's getting. The killing becomes one of kind of recognition.
40 years ago, the son of Sam was captured. David Berkowitz terrorized New York for more than a year, and his story captivated the entire country, if not the world. He was finally caught in Yonkers, of all places, and the biggest city in Westchester. It played a very large role in the entire saga. So did the late Daily News columnist Jimmy Breslin. The son of Sam, he wrote a series of chilling letters directly to Breslin. And David Berkowitz from prison, he wrote a condolence letter to Breslin's family after the journalist died this year at the age of 88. But it's the letters that Berkowitz wrote 40 years ago that still have people talking. Here a sample. Mr. Breslin, sir, don't think that because you haven't heard from me for a while that I went to sleep. No, rather I am still here, like a spirit roaming the night, thirsty, hungry, seldom stopping to rest, anxious to please. I love my work. Now the void has been filled. Here another letter. Perhaps we shall meet face to face someday, or perhaps I will be blown away by cops with smoking 38s. Whatever. If I shall be fortunate enough to meet you, I will tell you all about Sam, if you like, and I will introduce you to him. His name is Sam the Terrible. We are working in conjunction with the Journal News on the son of Sam's story. Files One's Ray Ramundi, he talked with Journal News reporter Mark Lungarello, who has spent months looking back at the son of Sam murders and the tracing of the killer's steps.
He's one of the most notorious serial killers in American history.
A man by the name of David Berkowitz, who lives at 35 Pine Street in Yonkers, New York, was apprehended by detectives from the New York City Police Department.
For some, it's hard to believe it's been 4 decades since that fateful night in August of 1977 when NYPD detectives arrested David Berkowitz. Till this very day, he's known as the son of Sam, the only serial killer in American history to name himself. And in just days, America will mark 40 years since Berkowitz was captured right here in Yonkers.
Tell us about the significance of this building right here.
Well, this is where the son of Sam, the summer of terror in 1977, finally ended.
Journal News reporter Mark Lungariello has spent months looking into the capture of the son of Sam, who murdered 6 people and injured 7 others across New York City between 1976 and 1977, targeting people who sat in their cars. This is the building in Yonkers where the man, also known as the .44 caliber killer, called home and spent most of his time eluding authorities during his murder rampage.
David Berkowitz came out of his apartment house, entered the car, was about to start the car when he was apprehended.
How important is it to know that there is this existence of this building 40 years later after the crimes were committed and he was captured right here?
Well, it's pretty fascinating, isn't it, that, you know, the whole country was enthralled and New York City was in a panic, the whole area was in a panic, and, you know, here was the resolution on this quiet, you know, street in Northwest Yonkers.
Since the spring, Lungariello looked through endless documents and videos surrounding the infamous murders. He also conducted many interviews with those who lived in the same building as Berkowitz.
Well, he lived in apartment 7E, and what's interesting is he lived directly above a deputy Westchester sheriff by the name of Craig Glassman, who had received some strange letters, creepy strange letters, and even at one point had a fire lit in front of his apartment door with .22 caliber bullets thrown into it. So that radar went up, you know, that something strange was going on in this area even before they knew son of Sam was here.
We followed Lungariello on his journey to learn more about the son of Sam. On this day, he interviewed David O'Gorman, who lived across the street from Berkowitz's building and recalls the spectacle on the night of his capture.
That particular night, there was unmarked cars everywhere you could see. It got to be an event of some sort. People were outside in lounge chairs for hours and hours before anything happened.
Lon Gariello also delves deeper into the events which led to the Son of Sam's arrest and how the Yonkers Police Department was also integral in capturing the serial killer.
Yonkers, David Berkowitz was on their radar before NYPD came calling because of some letters he had sent some neighbors. He was suspected of shooting his neighbor's dog and things of that nature. So they kind of already had him, identified as someone that they were watching.
Lon Gariello also takes us just a mile and a half north from Berkowitz's apartment to Untermeyer Park, which has ties to his infamous murders. While Berkowitz initially confessed to a series of deadly shootings in the years following his arrest, he consistently claimed he acted as a result of something much greater, a large-scale satanic cult with headquarters based in Yonkers. It was a group Berkowitz recounted which held frequent gatherings in the heavily wooded grounds of Untermeyer Park.
A persistent theory is that David Berkowitz was not the lone gunman in these crimes, and that he was part of a cult that performed satanic rituals and did things like, I guess, mutilated dogs even and stuff like that. But and they met here right in Untermeyer Park.
From Untermeyer Park to Pine Street, northwest Yonkers, can never erase Berkowitz's connection to this community.
All these years later, how it's still, part of like the landscape up here, and how, it's become a little bit of a ghost story to a lot of residents in the area.
David Berkowitz was arrested on August 10th of 1977. He told police the dog of a former neighbor was possessed by a demon that told him to kill. The neighbor's name was Sam Carr and was the inspiration for his moniker, the Son of Sam. 40 years later, the nostalgia of America's most infamous serial killer lives on, both in New York City and in Yonkers. Ray Raymundi, Fios 1 News.
When we come back on the other side of the break, the Journal News' Mark Lungarello. He will share more of his digital report, Evil Lived Here, Son of Sam, 40 years later, which can be viewed right now on loha.com. And his full report, it'll appear in the Journal News this Sunday, August 6th. We also sat down with Mark, and he gave us more of the inside story on the capture of Berkowitz and Westchester's outsized role in the story.